So, hands down, this is, in my opinion, the most bloody, bloodthirsty, and deadly the My Hero Academia story's been. And while sure it's just getting started, the potential of where this Stendhal arc is going to go, I truly feel is going to surpass anything in the main series. Like, yes, we've had hero killers before, hero killer Stain, but to see limbs and just cutting apart, like throwing knives into people's eyes and then seeing just their severed arms is one thing, but it's the seemingly limitless murder potential that Stendhal as a character is giving off. Now, maybe I'm misremembering. It's possible. I've watched this show for many years. I don't recall the name Stendhal ever being dropped in the main series, but I could be mistaken. So for me, there's only one of two ways you go with this character. Either A, which is what I'm currently betting on, is this is the guy who either was the inspiration or the mentor to Stain, or they're going to be Stain. I'm not sure exactly why we'd have a hero name change or the vigilante name change, whatever, and costume change that is as well. But one of those two things has to happen. But for an episode that was so funny at the start, my boy was one step away from getting a restraining order put on him because he was just creepy, to ending with okay, we're the vigilantes, right? We clean up the streets, when the other heroes aren't around. Turns out we have a guy who's going to cut down every single criminal that we've pretty much gone up against. Oh, this series is really cooking now, and I'm gonna be damn shocked if by the end of the Vigilante story, I ain't claiming this to be my favorite part of the My Hero Academia universe. I got those full live reactions over on my Patreon. Want to support my work? See my full thoughts on this greatness? You know what's over there exclusively. So, okay. Quickly want to say they did bamboozle me with the whole Pop Step backstory. So, usually what happens when I'm like, oh, very clearly distinct anime hair color. This is you in the flashback. But the issue was, not only was the haircut very boyish, she looked like 8 years old in that flashback. And I know they're only like a few years difference in age currently. I think it's because more bent over, more like tracked. It just, the body looked like a child, not like a young teenager. So the whole time I'm like, okay, all right. And I was like, oh, flashback. He's looking at the, and I was like, I was just too slow. I didn't realize he was thinking that's what he wanted to happen. And then he was like, okay. Well, I appreciate you at least admit that she has the hoodie, damn it. But goddamn, you kind of made me feel like an idiot briefly. The best part is the Stendhal stuff. And I'm going to assume that's the main focal point of this core. Because we know it's a shorter story, right? Like, it can probably be adapted in 4 cores. But to be honest, I mean, I would be okay if this lasted the whole damn story, because there was brutality, Shigaraki stuff in the later stuff of My Hero, and I think a lot of what they implied with Stain and sometimes what we saw was also sometimes brutal. But it's different here. It really is. It feels like whatever limiters the show had kind of went out the window. And I had been hearing rumblings prior to this anime starting that the Vigilante story can go dark, and to be honest, I'm starting to see it, because when you initially kill in the early point of the episode, you're like, okay, gonna get a little more intense. But to see someone who is truly fleeing, who's yes, was a villain, clearly made some mistakes, but he was steroided out of his mind, and honestly, he would have calmed down, he would have been okay. Yeah, he's a bit of a junkie, but he could have been helped, right? This wasn't someone who needed to be put down. And to see him just running and then just throwing knives, and just the fact that you truly felt bad, at least I know I did, and then to see him just almost begging for his life and then just cut down. And if they would have just left it at that, I'd have been like, okay, that's dark, but then you see the limbs. You see the limbs, and I'm like, okay, this Deadpool Punisher looking character, design wise kind of gives me Deadpool vibes, but action wise is very much Punisher. And then just crazy bee ladies ho, what do we have here? This is gonna be, and I'm like, okay. There's one plot point specifically from the main show that I'm unsure why happened in any way. So if you've seen the main show, obviously, you know that Ida's brother, Inganium, right? Basically, gets screwed over by hero killer Stain, who argued that he wasn't justified in terms of being a hero worthy of, the title. Because that's his whole thing. He's like, there's a lot of fake heroes. And a lot of what he says kind of was true, but everything we've seen from the main show, and obviously now this, makes us say, like, what is wrong with him, right? I'm interested at what we're going to explore with Stendhal arc and why certain things are perceived the way they are, because very clearly that's probably going to explain why actions in the first season of the main show happened, or, obviously the main show started and then later on happened in the... You get my point, damn it, okay? I go off the cuff here. Sometimes my mind gets jumbled. But I'm interested. There was some fun, though. There really was some fun. So, we know our boy lives on the top of a building in like a storage container. Inside said storage container, very comfy, cozy home. Apparently the building itself, though, that he's on top of is like abandoned and looks like a serial killer's wet dream. Because we start the episode off with him bringing, like, first couple weeks of school, here's all the groups of friends. You want to come back to my place? Like, yeah, boss, let's do it. And he tries to drag a woman and says, come on, it's fun up here, into... How he didn't get a restraining order is beyond me. He should be thankful that he just had no friends at school. Because I'm not one to usually say they had it coming, but I honestly have to admit Old Crawler had it coming for why he didn't have friends at school. And the worst part, too, is he made not one, but 2 fumbles this episode. Only one bit him in the ass, but when he sees who he thinks is a child drowning in the river... Turns out Popstep could have just, like, stood up, to be fair. And the idea that he just strips down to his boxers, and he was one step away from getting Chris Hansen's called on him, is all I'm saying. But, funny shit nonetheless. I thought last week was probably the best episode, but now I'm thinking this is, but it is just getting progressively better. I'm not sure what they're truly gonna do. I imagine we're probably gonna have 1 or 2 more episodes where we're, doing our thing, building the relationships, the chemistry, and, taking care of criminals that the main heroes are, I guess, too busy to deal with. And then they're going to slowly learn that people they've dealt with are getting killed, and then that's going to trigger into a bigger thing. Kind of my impressions. Good shit. Brutal. The most brutal My Hero's ever been, if you ask me. And we have just started. But if they actually commit to this bloodlust, yeah, this is going to be My Hero without limiters, and I'm very excited. Thoughts down below yourself. What did you think? If you're a source reader or if you're anime only like myself, do let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Little Joltik, Ekidana, we got Roberto Gutierrez, Crazy Cards, Drew Stern, Gullion, Coom Snatcher, love that name, Thomas, Chris Beaulieu, and we also have Kevin Cav, so I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.